Hello, my name is Allie and I paint portraits sometimes. I created this essay to help potential clients and their loved ones figure out if the painted portrait is right for them. This is the first in a series I will be delivering covering this subject. You may wonder, why would anyone buy a portrait? Fair question. The painted portrait may appear obsolete. Nowadays, virtually everyone has access to a perfectly good camera on their phone, just like this one I'm shooting on, and they can take as many pictures as they like anytime. It is also possible that this question never crossed your mind because you get it. You appreciate the human touch in a painting, the elegance, the timeless beauty, etc. And as excited as you are to begin the commission process with an artist like myself or anyone else, there may be others in your family that just don't get it. And they may never get it, because not everything is for everyone. But sometimes information brings about a new perspective, changing the way we see the world around us. So, for those who wonder why anyone would bother painting a portrait, I would like to share in good faith some of the reasons why I believe the portrait is still relevant. For the sake of this discussion, I'm going to focus on final outputs only. In other words, is the finished work a photo or a painting? But I would like to take a moment to acknowledge that there are painters working from photos and there are photographers drawing inspiration from painters. So there's plenty of valuable cross-pollination between these two disciplines. Now, on to the discussion. Photography versus painting. Which is better? Where would we be without the camera? Photography changed the visual storytelling game for humans forever. Photography allowed us to produce meaningful images with greater efficiency and in some cases more effectively than any other graphic art form that came before it. In the early days of photography, there were many artists who believed that painting would die because of this. Yet, amazingly, painting persists despite all that the camera has to offer. Naturally, there will be those who prefer photography over traditional arts like painting, but I can tell you after managing an art gallery for 7 years, most people prefer paintings. Paintings dependably outsold photos year after year. And here's why. Well, here's what I think anyways. Photography captures moments most skillfully. It is a time capsule. The photographer has creative decisions to make, such as what lighting to use, color, wardrobe, pose, processing, and so on. They express their unique artistic taste in every decision, producing true works of art. But it is still a frozen moment, run through a mechanical camera eye as well as whatever editing format was used to finish the image. This mechanical process is felt. So much so that many photographers aspire to give their images a painterly feel, deliberately imitating the old masters like Rembrandt to great effect. The painter, on the other hand, is running all of their artistic decision-making through their biological experience. The painter lays down their human experience thousands of times over with every brushstroke, exposing years of study, technical weakness or strength, their taste, and their emotions. A portrait painter worth their salt will also endeavor to understand something about the person they're painting, then translate that essential nature onto the canvas. The end result is full of human touch. It is truly a blend of two people, the subject and the artist. There is a lot more room for weird things to happen in this process. Between the portrait subject and the artist, there is a great struggle to describe this moment. Photography has less of these struggles as it is more immediate, less time-consuming, less labor-intensive. I know that there may be some photographers who watch this and they think, I put so many hours into my work. Yes, I really appreciate that you do. My partner is a photographer and he puts a ton of time into conceptualizing and then setting up and then executing. But for every session that he does, he may have dozens, if not hundreds of photos from a session, and he may pick, 5 out of those to complete and edit. I may have just begun a painting in that time frame. Painting generally takes quite a while, especially when we're talking about capturing a likeness in a portrait. And you see, that's why painting is filled with a recorded history of countless hours of course correction. And I believe this is why the majority of humans out there seeking to collect art are drawn to paintings. Also, there's this undeniable charm, the odd phenomenon of being nostalgic for something most of us have never lived with, that of the traditional painted portrait. Paintings never get old. What I mean is, we're still thirsty to see them. We pile into museums to have a look, and we often never forget the works we saw there. Collectively, the human race has inherited a huge catalog of figures reaching back into prehistoric times. We understand the value of these portraits and the stories that they tell us about us. We understand that painting is a valuable endeavor, and we long for a time when great effort was taken to create beautiful objects. Many of us long to surround ourselves in this timeless quality, which brings me to the only other argument I have to make on the side of painted portraits. Longevity. Paintings have a proven record of withstanding time. Even in poor conditions, an oil painting will show less signs of degradation, sometimes lasting hundreds of years. Photography, on the other hand, tends to need a great deal more care taken to preserve the image, whereas a portrait painted on a sturdy surface, such as a wood panel or canvas, in a trustworthy medium like oil, will carry on, changing only a little over time in a reasonable environment. Arguing on behalf of painting isn't an easy task, as some of what makes a painting alluring is past description. The points made here, though, will help begin a debate and hopefully aid in a greater appreciation of both artistic disciplines. For those of you who began this video unconvinced, thank you for taking the time to listen. Maybe you'll see traditional portraiture a little differently now. Maybe you will become more convicted in your preference for photography. Or maybe you'll just decide that art isn't for you. And that's okay, because we make the world a more interesting place with all of our differences. Ultimately, there is no universal winner in this debate. I am by no means an authority on this or any other subject, but I do feel strongly about the value of traditional portrait painting, and I believe it's still relevant even today. I hope you enjoyed this essay, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts. If you would like to learn more about the process of hiring me to paint you and your loved ones a portrait, please follow the link in the descriptions below to my website.